All right, let's talk about a word you're probably hearing everywhere these days, from the news to the checkout line: inflation. But what is it really? We're going to break it all down, nice and simple. Let's get into it. You know that feeling, don't you? You go to grab your usual coffee, fill up the car, and yep, the price is inched up again. That $20 bill that used to feel like something just disappears faster than it did last year. Well, that feeling? That's not in your head. That's inflation. Live in action.
So let's get right to the heart of it. What exactly is this thing we call inflation? And why does it always feel like everything is getting more and more expensive?
Okay, trying to think of it like this. Money is supposed to be like a ruler for value. You know, a ruler is stable. An inch is always an inch, right? That's how money is supposed to work. But with inflation, it's like our financial ruler is actually shrinking.
Now here's the more official definition. And a couple of words here are super important: continuous and sustained. See, inflation isn't just when the price of, avocados goes way up for a week. No, it's a broad, ongoing rise in prices across almost everything in the entire economy.
So here's the real takeaway. It's not just that things are costing more. It's that every single dollar you have is becoming less powerful. The purchasing power of your money is actually getting weaker, which means that same dollar buys you less today than it did yesterday.
If you only remember one thing from all of this, please make it this one phrase: too much money chasing too few goods. It's honestly the simplest and best definition out there, and it perfectly sets up the two main reasons for inflation, which we're about to jump into right now.
So let's start with that first part of the quote: too much money. This brings us to the first major cause of inflation, something economists call demand pull inflation. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like.
So what causes this? Well, it could happen when there's just a lot more money floating around in the system. Or maybe the population grows, which means you have more people all trying to buy from the same pile of stuff. Either way, you get a whole lot of demand.
Okay, I know, a graph, but stick with me, this is way simpler than it looks. See that line labeled AD? That just stands for aggregate demand. Basically, how much stuff everyone wants to buy. When that demand goes up, the whole line shifts to the right. Now look over at P on the side. That's the price level. What happens to it? It gets pulled right up. More demand literally pulls the prices higher.
So that's the too much money side of the coin. But what about the other half? Too few goods. This leads us right into the second big cause, which is called cost push inflation. This kind of inflation happens when it just gets more expensive for companies to make the things they sell. I mean, think about it. If the price of steel skyrockets, it's going to cost more to build a car. If workers need higher wages to keep up, well, that extra cost often gets added to the price tag of the final product. Those higher costs get pushed onto us, the consumers.
And this graph shows us exactly what's happening. That AS line is aggregate supply, how much stuff is actually available to buy. When it costs more to make things, that line shifts to the left, which means there's less stuff available. And look what happens to the price, P. It gets pushed up. So you end up with the same result, higher prices, but for a totally different reason. Okay, so we've got these two big forces, demand pull and cost push, both making prices go up. But so what? Why does any of this actually matter? What does it really mean for you and me in our daily lives?
Well, the most direct hit is to your wallet. Let's say you get a 3% raise at your job. That sounds pretty good, right? But if inflation is running at 5%, you've actually taken a 2% pay cut in terms of what you can actually buy. Your real income, your actual power to purchase things, has gone down.
Now, here's where things get a little weird. Inflation creates some really surprising winners and losers. If you're a debtor, say you have a big mortgage on a house, you actually get a small break. Why? Because you're paying back that loan with future money that's worth less than the money you originally borrowed. But if you're the creditor, the bank or the person who lent the money, you kind of lose out because the cash you get back buys less than it did when you first lent it.
And these effects just ripple outwards through society. Inflation can make inequality worse. People who own assets, like real estate, might see their wealth grow, while people who just have cash in a savings account see its value get eaten away. And it hits people on a fixed income, like retirees, the absolute hardest, because their income doesn't go up when prices do. And as you can imagine, that can cause a lot of social and political stress.
Now, that sounds incredibly dramatic, I know. But this quote really captures just how destructive out-of-control inflation can be. It's not just some abstract number on a chart. It's a force that can truly destabilize people's lives by quietly, day by day, robbing them of their savings and their sense of security. So, from the price at the pump to the receipt at the grocery store, from your paycheck to your savings account, inflation is this incredibly powerful force The next time you see those prices changing, you'll know the story behind it all. It's a story of too much money chasing too few goods. So the real question is, how is that story playing out in your world?